Hello folks, I'm Lew Parker. I'm the owner and winemaker at Willowcroft Farm Vineyards, and we're glad to have you with us here today. Willowcroft is Loudoun's oldest winery and one of the oldest in the state. I planted my first grapes back in the spring of 1980, back when the Extension Service was wondering whether it was possible to do this in Virginia. We're glad to have a visit from the Brambleton Homeowners Association today, and we welcome you all. We invite you to come back. I think you'll love the views and the ambiance of our old barn. Our philosophy here at Willowcroft has been to stay small, focus on wine quality, and sell it all out locally. So we do try to do that. That means that our old barn, the barn that you're in today, is still preserved and in good shape. It was built in about 1875, and we try to keep it as much as we can like it was in the day it was built. The wines we're going to taste today are two Willowcroft wines. The first wine will be a blend of the Riesling grape with the Muscat Ottonel grape. Now, why do we do that? Well, the Riesling grape from our vineyards, all of our wines are from our vineyards. The Riesling grape from our vineyards tends to come in with a high acid content. I looked at the lot records today, and the acid content on this Riesling, this 17 Riesling, was about 9 grams to the liter, which is a little on the tart side. In order to balance that out, many people would use a little sweetness. But rather than doing that here at Willowcroft, we like to blend it with the Muscat Ottonel. Muscat Ottonel is a grape that has its home, a member of the very large family of Muscat grapes, has its home in Alsace and Hungary for the wonderful dry wine. So the Muscat comes in with low acid, this one about 5 grams per liter. We have a very good balance of acidity, but we also add the floral notes that come from the Muscat Ottonel to the spicy notes of the Riesling grape. All right, let's try it. Usually I will pour a little bit in my glass, and then technically by tasting tradition, we're going to first look at the wine against a white background to make sure that it is proper, that the color is proper for the variety, and it is, and that there's no cloudiness or anything that impairs the clarity of the wine. It's what we call bottle bright. And then we're going to swirl the wine around and stick our nose way down in the glass. I've got a big nose, it's easy for me. All the way down, so we swirl it to bring the surface area up and get the aroma. And it's clean. There's no flaw in the wine that's detectable in the nose. And then after we've swirled it and smelled it and looked at it, we're going to taste it. And run it around in our mouth. Now, some people like to spit the wine out, and that is traditional. Unless I'm judging many wines and worried about becoming a little bit drunk, I always swallow it. I think it changes the way it tastes. So you'll catch me swirling and pressing my big nose down into the glass and testing the nose and then taking a sip. It is a multiple medal winner for us, and it's got a little bit of the citrusy, pineapple-y noses and flavors. The next wine for today, I'll put that over there, is a Merlot. Brian, could I have the Merlot? So what about the Merlot? Well, the Merlot is one of the most famous wine grape varieties in the world, and I believe today the largest production of red wine grapes in the world is from the Merlot variety. The Merlot is one of the 5 authorized Bordeaux varieties, which compass Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, Petit Verdot, and if you're from Chile, you would also say Carmenere, although that's controversial, whether the Carmenere is one of the authorized Bordeaux varieties or just another clone of the Cabernet Franc. Anyhow, this one, like all the Bordeaux varieties, they benefit and expect to be given aging. In most of the major houses of Bordeaux, they're kept in barrels for 2 years. Here at Willowcroft, we do barrel age all of our Bordeaux varieties, and most of our reds are Bordeaux varieties. We age them in oak for at least a year, and then our selected barrels are kept over for a second year. The Merlot in its home turf in Bordeaux is always blended with one or more of the other Bordeaux varieties. That's just the way the Bordelais make their wines. The Bordeaux people use the Merlot as a balancer on the Medoc, or the left side of the Gironde. They use the Merlot with its softer tendency, its lower acidity, as a balancer for the more stringent, harsh, higher acidity of the Cabernet Sauvignon grape. So by blending the Bordeaux varieties together, you can get the proportionate flavors that you like. This is, however, used as the principal variety on the right bank of the Gironde. So let's taste it. Brian, our assistant winemaker, has opened it up to breathe. He likes to see his red wines breathe, and so breathing is a way of maybe helping the flavors to integrate. For red wines, also decanting is considered to be an excellent thing to do, an excellent way to integrate just a little bit of oxygen, micro-oxygen, into the wine. So those are two techniques of making the wine. A little bit of tiny amount of oxygen changes the flavors a little bit. So let's see, first we're going to look at the color. And one of the things that to worry about a little bit in aging red wines is how long to age them, which is always a question. But when they're aged too long, when you look down at the color, you're going to see a tendency toward the brownish color tones instead of red. It's the first indication that maybe the wine has been oxidized or it's aged too long. I see absolutely no brownish tones, no brick tones in this wine. It's a perfectly beautiful Merlot color. And then let's do the smell test. No off nose. What we might be looking for in a red wine that's had long barrel aging, which this has, is to see if there's any reductive tones. By reductive, what we mean is, are we seeing or are we smelling anything from the sulfhydryl groups? And there's absolutely no reductive tone in this. So the smell is good, and the flavor is smooth, softer tones that come with the Merlot grape, and probably will age some more if you'd like to do that with it. But it's ready to go now, and it's got, I would see, it's still gobbler season here in Virginia, and this would go great with your wild turkey if you wanted to go out and get a gobbler for trying it with your Merlot. Come to see us when we're all free, and we would love to show you around our beautiful farm and have you taste all of our other wines. We're growing 13 varieties of grapes here in Willowcroft, and we make all those different types of wines. Thank you very much.